You're now entering the LuxCore Studios. And you've secured a seat for the Protecting Your Radius podcast. Here, we build connections from your contracting profession to some of the top bleeding edge products and services. Don't get deterred. Let's not delay. Here is your host, Nathan Downs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Protecting Your Radius podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Downs. And on today's episode, I've got Eric Litch with ESub coming on to talk to us about some pretty unique software that I've been looking at. His team approached us a couple weeks back. We've been looking over everything. Really excited to talk to Eric about his program, his software, a little bit about his background, and really what he has to offer to every trade contractor out there listening to this show. So, Eric, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about your background, bud. It looks like you've been in software development for a bulkhead of your career. How did you get to ESub? How did we get where we're at today?
I've been in software pretty much, like you said, my entire career in executive roles, from financial technology to e-commerce to construction. In construction, I was a general manager of Viewpoint Construction Software, which was eventually acquired by Trimble. I also have been an investor in a New Zealand startup called Tradeify, which serves trade contractors in New Zealand, Australia, the UK, France, and South Africa. And so ESub came my way, and it was a really perfect fit. And so I joined as CEO in 2021, early 2021.
Very good. So you've experienced the pandemic craziness with the software platform of everything that was going on in construction over the last couple of years. ESub is unique from what I've seen, because it seems to me, and of course, as I go along, Eric, anything I say incorrect, you're more than welcome to immediately correct me. But I see the program and the platform being developed more for subcontractors like myself. Is that kind of the essence of it?
Well, it's pretty much designed exclusively for trade contractors or specialty subcontractors. We do have some general contractor customers, and those are typically almost always self-performing. So we're really focused a lot on what gets done on a job site day to day. And so general contractors are more typically focused on just updates and document routing and approval workflows and things like that. But self-performing general contractors care about the same things that trade contractors care about. So we do serve some general contractors as well, but typically our bread and butter is if you're concerned about what's happening on a job site and on a day-to-day basis with your crew, your workers, your equipment, your materials, all of that, you are familiar with ESub.
And it looked like even in some of your like training videos that you guys have on your website, and I found on YouTube, it looked like the platform, is it an auto updating platform? Like as changes are made, like you have it triggering different team members, or how does that process flow work from the bottom up?
Yeah, it's a cloud-based system, so everything is in real time. So every time somebody uploads a document or an update or a field note or a daily report, it's accessible by everybody who has permissions to access that document. We have granular permissions across every single role or person that you allow to use the application within your company. And so if you make a change or an update or do anything, everyone else in your company has real-time access to that information. It is a real-time updating system.
So with the data, because this seems to be something that comes up on the platforming side of software from what I've experienced or at least investigated, do you guys have any like bandwidth limitations or any storage limitations, or is it kind of just open across the board?
No, yeah, generally. So a lot of times companies that are moving to our software are moving from like Dropbox or Google Docs or that have storage limitations. We have unlimited storage in our system for any documents that are created outside of our system Any documents created inside of our system, of course, have unlimited storage. So we have no usage limitations whatsoever in our application. You can upload a terabyte of data if you wanted to. We hope you don't, because that's just a ridiculous amount of data. But we don't have any restrictions on that.
No, that's cool. Yeah, because I know sometimes like I said, I've seen a couple other similar things. They do a little bit different, but they would say, you could download a video, but it's only 30 seconds or something. And I'm like, well, I mean, a 30-second video, I'll just take a picture. So is that really a feature if you only get 10 seconds of data, or whatever?
No, we don't. We do allow you to store videos as long as you want, in duration as you want, and an unlimited amount of photos as well. So that's not a limitation. And we don't really ever come across any kind of real challenges in that regard.
Sure. The annotation of documents, specifically photos, but it also looked like I could insert my PDFs, like my plan sets, and do all those things. Was that a feature that I did see in there?
Yeah. So there's two different capabilities. So one is we do have drawings management where you can upload massive PDFs of drawing sets, and then we divide them up into sheets and do online character recognition so that you can do automated labeling and annotations to those drawing sheets, and do version control and markups and snapshots and automatically create RFIs. So that's in full drawings management. And then there's also, like I said, in our project inbox and company inbox, company document drive, there's unlimited storage of any other documents. You get invoices, you get, or if you want to not use our drawings tool, but you want to upload drawings to that, you can. That's more of like what I would classify as like a Dropbox capability, as opposed to our drawings management solution, which is a full, complete plans and drawings management capability there. So yeah, we allow both types of upload. For our upload of just document storage, that just comes with the product out of the box as included in every package. For our drawings management solution, that's an add-on tool.
Is that the difference between the two price points that I saw on the website?
On the website, there are packages based upon what kind of modules you need and how advanced functionality you need. Drawings is an add-on. So there are packages which include like basically field management, document management, and then advanced job costing and labor productivity analysis and all of that. And then there are add-on capabilities like drawings.
Gotcha. What's the best way as we're going through this? Because I'd like to start, inserting ideas for anyone listening to this now, Eric. What's the best way to take the next steps to get information about, like, if they're familiar with these programs or they've used something, but they're interested in doing something different? And like I said, what I liked about yours is it's so robust and you can actually do it from the field to the office and all the, we use on the residential side, I mentioned this before we got on, but we use for residential work, we use a program like Company Cam in my shop, right? And it's a rudimentary version of what you're doing, right? But for residential work, it works well because what do we not have? We don't have contracts, documents, all these other, nuances. You don't have submittals, RFIs, all these things. Now, would a program like that work in a commercial setting? I'm sure it would. It is not designed for that, right? It really isn't. You need a data management system that can properly place things and go ahead.
All that would do is field notes. What we call field notes is the picture and the video with accompanying notes. That is used by all our customers. However, that is just one small feature. The dailies is really critical. Your daily reports and how you create those, and what you insert as far as information and want to track, whether you want to track crew time in there, as far as how all of your individual workers performed in the day in terms of getting overtime or whatever, and your time card management, all of your equipment and material management in a given day. So those are your dailies, your change orders, your purchase orders, your submittals, your RFIs. So we do a lot more that our customers require in terms of document management and information management and project management, and of course all of the information that generates goes into our labor productivity reports, our job costing reports, so you can understand, are you behind in terms of your units, in terms of feet or numbers of whatever you're measuring, bricks or whatever. So yeah, that's all in our progress reporting modules.
It's great, Eric. That's great because there's so many younger listeners and viewers that haven't been in the space, that haven't used programs like this. So I think that's something, just by you explaining that can get a lot of people's heads moving in the right direction for thinking, well, I want to get into this commercial space. I want to do these things. I think having a platform like yours from the beginning is vital to making sure you understand, like, what are the steps from point A to get to point Z. And if you've never done it before, and you've worked with a lot of contractors over time, that can be cumbersome at best. At worst, it could cost you thousands and thousands of dollars of learning curves that really you shouldn't have to have if you have a good data management system behind you, like what your platform provides.
Yeah, I mean, so we talk every day to contractors about this, but 95% of all, I mean, this is validated through tons of studies and research, 95% of all information created on construction projects goes completely unutilized and inaccessible. And so what we're about is, and every other industry has managed to find a way to really capitalize on information. And construction is probably one of the furthest industries behind in capitalizing on information. And that information is generated through every single interaction you have, every single development every day. And if you're not actually recording that, let's say you're just taking notes on pieces of paper, that you're recording the information, but finding that, accessing that, organizing that is extraordinarily difficult. So there's so many areas that using a software application like ours will add value to your organization, both in terms of saving you time and money, in terms of your people, at least 10 hours a month, a week, sorry. This is in a study we did. 10 hours a week is wasted looking for information or ineffectively inputting information into systems. 10 hours, that's 40 hours a month. If you just use a standard $40 an hour kind of wage, which is pretty typical across the construction industry, you're talking about $1,600 a month in wasted energy and resources.
Right.
And so we as well as other software applications like us, I mean, we're not the only ones out there. We help you really collect and manage this information, saving you money immediately upon usage, and also allow you to increase revenue and protect profits. Increase revenue by capturing more change orders, more opportunities to charge for additional services, and protect your profitability by allowing you to, defend all kinds of cost overruns and things. We had a customer recently that was in litigation with, something we always hate and want to avoid, but he was in a litigation, and he said that he was commended by the arbitrator in that litigation for how well documented the project was in our software. He basically had to do nothing to essentially document every single element of his case, and ended up, the multiple on what he pays us for the software is obscene, because he saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, and our typical average customer pays about $7,000 a year. So he's like, this paid for itself 40 times over, and couldn't be happier with with the fact that I chose you guys years ago. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of value here. Now, that's not the only value. We anticipate actually creating a ton more value for our customers in the coming years as we get into leveraging analytics and artificial intelligence to add a lot more value to what we can provide with the information that we collect and manage in our systems.
Gotcha. You know, that's one, Eric, you said something that I think is super important that newer people in the commercial space may not know or have experienced, but lost information for change orders or changes in the scope. I cannot tell you years ago how many things that I was doing on large scale commercial construction sites. And I'm going, I don't think that was in my contract for fence. And they're going, oh yeah, it was. And I'm going, I don't know. You know, walking around the job site looking for my job folder, you know, and I don't have it. And then I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. And then, you know, how or anyone out there that's dealt with any GC, especially if they're one of the big companies, right? You know, they're going, pretty sure you're going to do this right now, son. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's go ahead and move these posts, you know, or whatever. Only to come to find out later, I'm sitting there going, well, you know, the super told me that I needed to do this, and that was not what was on the drawing. So that's a change order. And they're like, well, you should have got that approved beforehand or whatever. So again, not having the data in the right place at the right time, you know, cost us, however you wanted to look at it, right? It cost us an opportunity to recapture that lost time, those changes and all those things. So I'm a victim of that in the past from, you know, being a little, you know, taught old school, like I said, with the manila envelope and a bunch of papers on site, you know.
And I've, you know, so I've been in software. One of my previous software businesses, we did professional services, really large projects to build software out for large banks all over the world. And you can imagine that this was really critical for us is to, you know, we would do like, you know, $50 million software development projects.
Yeah.
And understanding on any given day what changes and all of that was really critical. We had to use absolute maniacal, just diligent processes around making sure that we understood, you know, what was happening on any given day and what were the changes and, you know, all of that. And construction companies are even more, I think, in need of doing that kind of stuff and that kind of discipline, that kind of diligence. And we help them do that really easily. One of the things that's really important about our software in our company is we're exclusively focused on people doing actual work on a given project, you know, not just sitting back and supervising. And so in other words, self-performing GCs, trade contractors, we provide a user experience that's really optimized for that, as opposed to other companies that are serving primarily GCs and owners and things like that. So one of the things that we face all the time in our industry is pushback from the field in terms of adoption and utilization. And our advantage is we're designed for you in the field, to be really easy to use on our mobile and tablet apps and to do exactly what you need to do on a given day. And we're not going to bombard you with a bunch of features and functions that you don't need access to and that have nothing to do with what you're doing. And it's going to be super intuitive. We always pride ourselves on saying, hey, our user experience, we need to compete with Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, applications that people that are the users use on a daily basis. That's the kind of experience that we want in our software, and I think that we've built. And so we do have training and videos and all kinds of different things, but I think it's pretty basic in terms of your ability to just log on and be able to find anything that you want to do. And that is really important in this industry.
Yeah. Eric, you had a video on YouTube on your guys' channel that showed an electric contractor, and it was really cool. It is they did electrical, and in the sample, the PM put something in there, and then it went out to the field, and then it said, now you're on the field workers app, and you see the phone and everything, and then it showed the field. It showed your like for your foreman out in the field. He looks at his phone. He goes on it. He says that is not what that is, according to the schematic, takes a picture of it, annotates it, and then it had a talk to text feature, where he puts the notes, and then in real time it says, now we're going back to the project manager. And the project manager sitting in the office has the data, now it has the correct information. Things, one thing I learned years ago, Eric, from I worked at Ameristar Fence Products, which is the largest manufacturer of ornamental iron fencing in the world, actually right out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I'm from. And Eddie Gibbs, the owner, he always talked about, and I talk about this on the podcast often, he talks about speed of business. That was his mantra all the time, right? And he said, how much better could we be if we just concentrate on the speed of data that we're getting in and we're getting out, and then use that as the catalyst for everything. And I think, especially on a commercial job site, the speed of business, the speed of communication is vital. And that's where this really starts to kick in because of that real-time syncing between two parties. And you have to have, as you know, by talking to thousands of contractors out there, Eric, you have to have that synergy between your project manager, your office staff, everyone doing everything else, and the boots on the ground, like the foreman, your super, the actual laborers. All those things have to happen. But so often, from being there in experience, there's just a disconnect, or we'll get to that when the PM shows up on site. Well, that may be too late. Or like we said in that scenario, think how much business happened because using a program like ESub, you could that the foreman knew that there was an issue, and they're immediately relaying that information and getting things moving. I've had guys when we've done out of state work here, and I have had guys that were 3 to 4 hours away from my home office at a stalemate for 4 to 5 hours because of misinformation, because another contractor did something wrong. Another contractor didn't read the right plan set. I mean, my guys didn't read the right plan set, right? There's so many variables and nuances out there.
It is probably the largest issue that it goes underappreciated by the construction industry, which is the amount of waste and inefficient processes in the business of what they do, of what we do. It is huge. There's billions and billions of dollars of waste every single year just in the U.S. in construction, based upon miscommunications and inefficient processes. About 60% of project overruns that are unrecovered are entirely attributed to miscommunications, and yeah. So this is what we're trying to solve through, and it's solvable if you can organize and create the kind of real-time communications that you referred to that we enable. So yes, everything that is inputted in the field is in real time available. You can comment on it, you can adjust it, you can modify it, you can then send back additional information and reports. You can create field notes in the office that you can then have your other people on the field all of a sudden get access to. And you can do all kinds of different communications on projects. You can manage all kinds of, just even in terms of finding project documentation, you can probably count on easily multiple hands how many times you need to, you ask the question, where is that? Just where is that? Whatever that is.
Yep.
Where's that purchase order? Where's that change order? Where's the signed document for that? Where's the invoice for that? Where is the, and then how much time does it take you to find that? And you start counting the amount of time you would save if that was just, oh, well, I can just search in an application and find that. I can just do a natural language search and find that. And so, that's what software like ours enables. And eventually, we hear a lot about like AI tools like ChatGPT and others. We will absolutely incorporate those into our applications such that you can say, hey, give me the 5 most unprofitable projects and tell me why those were. Give me the attributes of the projects that I find to be the least attractive by lowest profitability, highest budget overrun, whatever. You can just ask natural language queries as to whatever you want, and we can provide you an answer.
That's awesome. I love the AI stuff. I've been playing with Chat GPT. I often use that to do the bios and everything for the podcast, actually. So it's a pretty unique tool, right?
It's powerful, but the issue is you need to have the data accessible and architectures that enable that kind of easy access. A lot of the construction software applications out there today completely redesigned our designed in that way because they were designed. And so we have a super modern data architecture that allows us to do all kinds of queries against our data, and be really, really flexible how we expose that. Everything's API driven, application programming interface driven. And so we can do a lot of advanced data analytics and AI kind of integration. And so it's gives us a huge advantage.
One thing, can we talk about like a competitor in that scope, the bet negative way? Because why I'm asking is that was a thing like with the Bluebeam and like the View software that they had out there. Like, my office uses everything Apple. It's all Mac, Apple-based stuff. Well, Bluebeam don't do that, and they're trying to actively. So they had to pull View back. They had to change everything because they found out that the MS-DOS terminal level. Like, I know it's nerdy stuff for some of the guys and gals listening to this, but that matters. Like what you're saying, Eric, matters because having the infrastructure and the structure set up behind it for future expansion will eliminate what has happened to some of these contractors out there that have used these programs for 10, 20 plus years. And then they're getting into today's technology and they're realizing, well, I have to have a computer hooked up to a mobile hotspot router that's plugged into my truck. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why do you have to carry around an old, tough book, to get my program to work, and then let alone the features and the benefits of the software are terrible. You're like, oh, this isn't even intuitive, or I would never want to train somebody on this stuff.
Yeah, I never address specific competitors, but what I will say is that what is essentially called technology debt or legacy technology is a huge challenge in construction software, because a lot of these software applications were built 10, 15, 20, sometimes 20, 30 even years ago. And so they're not really capable of adapting to what we expect as a modern consumer user experience. As an example, most of the ERP systems, the accounting systems out there in construction technology, are on-premise, server-based. They're not easily accessible through the web. They require, or a browser, they require native apps on devices. And if they call them cloud accessible, it's really just an emulated desktop. They're very, very challenging to update to modern specs and capabilities, and they don't lend themselves to really modern user experiences or modern data accessibility. It's a massive challenge in construction. It was a massive challenge, and still kind of is, in banking, which is the most advanced probably industry in the country. In terms of data monetization, utilization, and digitization, everything. And so I had spent a lot of time in there, so I'll use it as an analogy. So all of the banking systems out there took years and years and years to get to be easily accessible through modern digital tools, to get to have modern payment capabilities, user experience capabilities. Now, I think all of us just automatically expect to pop open our phone and make a payment and do transactions, which has happened. But that has happened through 30 years of the modernization of back-end systems and data accessibility in that industry. And construction is at the very beginning of that with the systems that are in place. And so there are applications like ours that are state of the art, that are totally, completely native cloud. And we had the benefit of being able to choose all of the modern UI user experience capabilities that we could, all the modern data architecture that we could. And so we have a lot of advantages, but some of those other systems out there are very, very antiquated. Most of the estimating software runs on your local device. It's not a web accessible thing. It runs on your local device. Most of the accounting systems do the same thing. They're running on servers. You're not able to use browsers to access them. This is the state of the construction technology industry. And so, I think that there's a lot of progress that needs to be made. And anybody out there looking for software really needs to look under the hood and see, okay, is this actually accessible from any device, anywhere, any app, any operating system? How easily can I extract data from it? Are there APIs? And not just for what you want to do today, but what you might want to do tomorrow. And that, you could make a technology decision today that meets your feature functionality need, but in 6 months or a year, when you say, "Oh, now I want to do this," you have no chance.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do that.
Eric sees me. I'm jumping off the walls over here because I'm like, that is so true. Like everything you just said, you are much smarter than most of us listening to this podcast, man. But I can tell you, sir, for sure, 100%, the choices we make today in our software, our processes, and our platforms that we're using could negatively impact us in a worse way than positively impacting you by choosing the wrong platform that, like you said, that's antiquated, that hasn't kept up with times, that isn't prepared for the future, that doesn't have the right, like all this stuff matters. So anyone listening, if you don't know if a software platform is good or bad or anything, email us at info@protectingyourradius.com. We have our guys over at Clever Fox down online, and of course our own team here in-house that we're looking at this stuff all the time. We're bringing people like Eric on and other industry leaders because this stuff matters, and we're out there building things day to day. But to have these platforms, to have these resources on the back end to make our lives better and make our futures better is just as vital for our businesses to be successful moving on down the road. So with that being said, Eric, our time is short here. I'd like to kind of wrap this thing up, put a bow on it. What do you want to leave all the listeners with? And then to take it home, go ahead and let us know how we can get demos. How do you want us to interact with ESub? You give us all that after your final thoughts there, bud.
Well, passionate about the trade contracting industry, and that's what we're focused on: electrical, mechanical, HVAC, plumbing, concrete, drywall, all of those people that, we always say our purpose in life is to construct and sustain a better world. And we every day we live in structures and benefit from all the work you guys do in terms of making our lives, more hospitable and protected. And so we want to help you guys do that more effectively. And so you can reach us at esub.com and find access to free trials or demos or whatever you want. You can watch video demos. You can request personal live demos. We're trying to be as easy as possible to work with. And we're really excited about the next phase of digital adoption in the construction industry. And so looking forward to talking to anybody that comes our way.
Absolutely. Eric, we appreciate your time. As always, if anybody has any questions, reach out to ESub directly on their website. You can also contact us over at our website. And we're excited for all the software stuff everywhere it's going. Check out ESub. I am thoroughly impressed. We're going to be getting in the weeds even more with these guys. So that's it for today, our show today, guys. We appreciate your time as always. We'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to the Protecting Your Radius podcast from the LuxCore Studios in Bixby, Oklahoma. Thanks for sticking around, and connect with us and all of our partners at www.protectingyourradius.com. We want to thank our premier partners, LuxCore, the newest line of premium quality composite infill to slide into your fence track fence system. Frame your style today. Also, Stain Track, the world's first patented standalone stain machine. Utilizing flood coat technology, Stain Track covers boards, pickets, posts, and any type of dimensional wood you can think of. And what better way to use your Stain Track machine than to use the easy application Wood Defender family of stains. Wood Defender goes on easy and covers in one coat with no back brushing. And of course, the true power of our show is you, the listener. Please rate and review our show on whatever platform you consume this content. Your 5-star likes and reviews help other contractors get the message that we all want to be better and do better. And in the construction world, we can never forget that before you can be great, you've got to be good. Before you can be good, you've got to be bad. But before you can even be bad, you've got to try.